Okay, it's dead quiet in here, hey. All of a sudden there was a lot of hype, there was a lot of activity, then boom, it's quiet. How are you guys doing? It's good to see everybody here. It's been an interesting couple of days. We are back to the final day, so we're hoping that we end this on a big hit, right? So as the participants, you would now know that everything that you've done pretty much is supposed to be consolidated to this particular moment, right? And you guys have had questions as to whom you'll be presenting to, whom you'll be talking to, right? Okay, number one, you'll be talking to me. I'm Lawrence, in case you were wondering, all right? So I've got the 4 judges that are here with us today. I have Douglas here first. He's one of the judges. I've got Mr. Raymond there. I've got Miss Joy and Miss Matebe. All right, so Miss Matebe is from Telkom. Miss Joy represents Simolohong. Ray there is with ITTHYNK, as well as Doug is with ITTHYNK. Right, online we've got Mr. Aram from Ghana. All right, so trust me, the suite of judges is going to be a very interesting panel that's got people with massive expertise. So they will definitely dissect everything that you put to them today, all right? Okay, so to get things going, I just wanted to put a bit of context using something that we have done, something that we did a couple of months ago, all right? And I just summed all of it up in this particular presentation here. All right, can I have the next slide, please? Right, so the problem landscape that we're looking at, thinking of the African gaming space particularly, we saw that there are challenges from the video game content in itself. We saw that there are challenges from the developers' end on itself. We saw that there are challenges from the players as well as the global market share. Right, from the content itself, Africa has got very limited content that it has to pump out there for people to consume, right? And that usually stems from developers not really having that platform to produce and place their content so that it can get out there. Furthermore, from the video game players in itself, we've got a couple of elements that may be psychological from a stigma perspective, as it were, where they cannot really consume that particular content even if it's put out there. Right, from a global perspective, we saw that Africa has got only 3% in terms of the global share that it is consuming. So if you've got 100 billion, that means Africa is just at under 3 billion, as it were. Right, that is very much insignificant. And if you can go back to 2 days ago when Miss Matebe was sharing her thoughts, this also aligned with what she had. Right, so what we have here is the problem of representation for South Africans, for Africans, right? It has got socio-economic implications. There is negative stereotypes as well as massive self-esteem issues. Next slide, please. Right, so in all of that, we're looking at the global video game industry, and what makes it important, if you look at it there, the numbers are massive. Right, but when we drill it down to Africa and the Middle East, we've got that minuscule 3%. Next slide, please. Right, and that is a massive problem. Next slide, please. Right, if you have a bit of perspective, the games are represented by that white column that is there. Right, games are actually much more bigger in terms of market size with all the other 4 combined. So if you combine box office, European soccer, music, and the NFL, you do not touch gaming. Right, that is the market size that is out there for gaming. That actually spiked up with the what? With the rise of the pandemic, because people spend more time at home and they had to what? Find other means to entertain themselves. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Right, so in terms of drilling down and trying to understand the problem, it is absolutely crucial for you to dig deeper than what is really on the surface. Right, we applied this particular model to try and look deeper into what is shared by a lot of people, to look deeper into what you see from a newspaper, to look deeper into what you see from any website that you may bump into. So what we saw that at the surface level reasoning, we speak of finance, we speak of sustainability, regulatory issues and skills, but the source or the causality can be established at a level of agility, including historic issues as well as opportunities, right? What we see is we had a lot of patterns that were emerging when we're focusing on equality as opposed to equity. Right? It is absolutely crucial for you to drive equity as opposed to equality. Equality just means if you've got people of a different height, you just put them on the same thing and expect them to reach onto something. However, with equity, you are looking at helping everybody get access to that particular opportunity regardless of their background, regardless of what they have. Right? On the structures that actually propagate this, we've seen that the media plays a crucial role in ensuring that these stereotypes stay the same, or maybe perhaps they can be changed. Right? So in all of that, what we saw that is at the source of it all, it actually all stems from chronic empiricism. We use whatever we can have as tools to justify our thoughts, to justify our actions, right? And one of those issues is also the skewed rationalism that we have. Somebody thinks of a particular approach and they decide to use that as the rational aspect of things to define what can be done and what cannot be done. Right? As humans, if we challenge the very foundations of our existence, maybe perhaps we can start developing the true solutions to these particular problems. Next slide, please. Right? So, in all of that, there is a lot of things that are being done currently in Africa and globally. We've got a number of business incubators that are being developed. Ray is there, one of the incubator developers. Right? We've got bootstrapping that is actually there in the business sector. A lot of people funding their development using their own money. We also have NPO and CSI initiatives, right? Where people get to sponsor some of these events so that people can have the platform to develop their understanding and get better. Next slide, please. Right. So, in all of this, the point was not just to study, but however, to try and identify how can we drive change. What are the gaps that exist in the market and what can we use? Right? What we saw now is there is a crucial need for us to have government playing a crucial role in ensuring that this changes. Right? It cannot be done by the people alone. However, from a policy perspective, you need government to actually play a crucial role. So in all of that, we need to engage with stakeholders in addressing corruption, as it were. Right? In all of that as well, we need to find and create a favorable environment which allows regulations to accommodate or at least create an enabling environment for peer-to-peer interaction so that game content development and consumption can actually grow. In as much as organic may be slow, but at the end of the day, it does have impact on that which we seek to solve. And in all of this, technology needs to be an enhancer. Technology is not our solution. All right? Next slide, please. Right. So in terms of attempting to create a solution, right, our thoughts were, we see the importance of governments in all of this. We see that the social issues that exist among us as a people actually have a much more significant bearing than one would typically imagine, right? We see that there is a challenge of the foundational thinking or the foundational construct that we have and our approach to solving problems, or at least thinking about problems, right? So the solution that we propose here is a solution that allows for overlaps within sectors, right? We need to change the way in which we educate people. Right? We need to change the way in which people attempt to see problems. And if we can lay that particular foundation, we can then have the government playing its role from a regulatory perspective and a policy perspective, right? To create that environment that nurtures talent, that grows talent, right? With that, we can have the financial sector coming in to help these businesses grow, give that element of sustainability and certainty into their businesses. And we really think that would go a long way. Right? So, to sum all of that up, this problem that you had today was a very interesting problem that people are actively looking to solve, that people are actively looking to play a role in. Right? So, it wasn't something that was hanging and just thumb-sucked and brought to life. All right? Okay, hopefully that 2-second thought of the work that we did. Oh, thanks to Ben, by the way, he's the one who put all this together. Right? And believe it or not, he was #1 in South Africa presenting this. So he's very good at it, right? Okay, awesome. So now is the time that perhaps all of you have been waiting for, right? So Miss Joy, Miss Matebe, the people have been waiting for this particular moment. Ray, Doug, and Aram Online, people have been waiting for this particular moment. All right, you presented us with a solution and we did not solve it, we handed it to them. Just in case. Right? So, without further ado, I'd like to get the first team to come and share their thoughts to the panelist of judges there with IRAM Online. So you guys will have 10 minutes for your presentation. And after that, we are going to have a Q&A. Is that awesome? Is that good? Are you guys happy with it? Okay. All right, so the first team is the Skinny Boy Gang. Let's give him a round of applause. There you go, mate. Thank you. Okay, while we wait for them to sort the tech issue, Ray, how are you doing, sir? You good? There's a mic somewhere there. You know you can respond, right?
I'm good, sir. I'm good.
Awesome. You guys have been doing amazing things with ITTHYNK, right? You think so? But I love it when people downplay their massive impact. Let me give you these 2 seconds, a couple of minutes for you to share with us what your thoughts have been and what you guys have been doing and what you guys have been working on.
Okay, thank you very much, Lawrence. Good afternoon, colleagues. Is the sound okay? Good afternoon, colleagues. It's a pleasure for me to be here. So my name is Raymond Ledwaba, and I'm the CEO of ITTHYNK Gaming. 10 months ago, I wouldn't have been sitting here as a judge on a gaming hackathon, right? And I'm here because of esports. So the story is that I run a tech company and I also run an NGO called Diski99, and it's a sports for development NGO. So we do soccer tournaments and netball tournaments in Soweto. When COVID, the pandemic hit, it affected our programs. We couldn't do contact sport. Money was running out. Funding was scarce for amateur sports, and so we thought, what can we do to save the sports NGO? It has a lot of impact in Soweto. We need to find something that is a little bit more innovative, that is less contact, because soccer is contact sport. And we came across this idea of esports, right? So we ran our first esports tournament in February this year. And from there, I saw these young kids playing FIFA. It was a FIFA tournament. And the idea hit me, right? Wouldn't it be cool if we were playing our own video games and having esports tournaments based on our own video games? And that's where ITTHYNK Gaming actually started. Managed to raise some seed capital and wanted to build a gaming company. And then the challenges, hit, skill sets. So you start realizing that on the continent in South Africa, the gaming industry is still very young. So we need to really develop the industry itself. We need to collaborate with big corporates, with the government, etc. But we need to do something. So we started an academy and we started an incubator with support from various corporates such as Microsoft, HP, etc. And here we are today. So I'm here because of esports. I'm really excited to be here. I hope that we can grow this ecosystem together. I suppose that's my cue. Thank you.
Yeah, that's enough. Thanks very much, Ray. You guys are doing a good job. We appreciate you. Okay, so I'm going to hand over to the first group to lead us through their work.
Thank you. Good day, everybody. I'd like to extend a hand of greeting to our esteemed guests, our judges, and everybody in attendance. I represent the group of Skinny Boy Game Jam. So let's get this presentation underway. So my team is comprised of 5 members, 5 very, very creative members that are driven by one goal, and that is to succeed at the problem that was posed to us. So I'd like to first introduce Letiwe. She is an art designer, very creative designer, a UX designer as well. She is basically the glue between the solutions and the ideas of our game and solution. Then secondly, I'd like to introduce Tapelong Kwana. He is the visual aspect of the game that was created throughout this process, throughout the past few days. And then we have Mpho Chipape. He is the business-minded person behind the whole thing. He was the one that was talking about the monetization strategies and everything else. And then we have Tabile. our very talented programmer over there. He is a coder with ample experience in the industry, and he's been doing it for many years. So he's produced something worth playing for us. And last but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Nico Kekana. I am also one of the creatives at Skinny Boy Game Jam. Well, my job is basically just the storytelling, the narrative, and the presentation. So the problem that was posed to us was tackled from very different angles. So from a creative point of view and from a realistic point of view, we'd just like to state that the problem was defined as a lack of participation in esports and gaming in South Africa. So this problem is mainly due to the fact that there is no access to infrastructure and resources. And there is a lack of exposure into the gaming industry in South Africa. The solutions that we have come up with, which is more than just one solution, it is actually a compilation of solutions bottled down into one. The overview goes like this. So we have a player rating hub that is going to be sort of like a platform where gamers are able to track their stats and their progress through many games. And then we have a streaming service at a low cost, which is going to be called video casting. It is something that already exists. We're just going to incorporate it to make the cost of everything that we're doing very, very low. And the big one is the game truck. The game truck is basically a mobile moving game engine. This is where players from all over the country are going to come and meet at the game truck and play games, and the stats are going to be recorded in the player rating hub, integrated with the streaming service, which is going to be the video casting, and we have, of course, Action Goggle to spark an interest in novice gamers and aspiring developers. I'd like to start off with the Player Game Hub. What is it all about? So the Player Game Hub is basically a one-stop website for gamers, a platform for gamers by gamers. So this is where a player would actually be able to track their stats in various games that they have played and be able to be ranked and scouted by international gaming organizations that are looking for world-class players through these skills and stats, ratings, and everything that is going to be included in the Player Game Hub. This is just a visual illustration of what the Game Hub is actually meant to look like. As you can see, there are connections, the location of where the truck will be or is. We have the global ranking for global scouts to be able to see how the South African gaming industry is actually going. Then we have the streaming service, which is a low cost. Well, we have the streaming service, which is video casting. It's a low cost streaming service, which is going to be at a fraction of what traditional streaming would actually cost. So the advantages of the streaming service would definitely be that the costs are very, very low because it is actually one centralized device connecting multiple other devices in order to stream the games that are being played. And there are multiple users that can there are multiple users that can partake in the streaming. And then what our disadvantage would be the fact that the device is actually centralized, so you actually have to be there to actually be able to get video feedback of what is actually going on, and to actually partake, you have to be at the game truck. So this is a model of how the streaming service would actually look. We would have one centralized device over there, which is going to connect a whole host of other devices in order to stream the actual games being played. The game truck itself, the big one, as I said, the game truck is basically a trailer of games. a kid's wildest imagination in my eyes. This is something that is going to take gaming to the people instead of bringing people to the games. This is actually one of the first ideas that we came up with. So the game truck is basically supposed to be looking like this. This is just a visual illustration of what it's supposed to be. And this is where all the streaming, the video casting, the player hub, and being able to get to the far reaches of South Africa, and even the most remote areas will be able to be included in this whole thing through the game truck, because it is very mobile and it moves from place to place. Then we have the game Action Goggle. So I'd like to explain what Goggle means to anybody that does not understand isiZulu. Goggle is actually a respectful way to call your grandmother. So this is a word that is translated from isiZulu. And the game that we have come up with is actually a very fun one. So we would have, well, the storyline would go like this. The grandmother would be sitting at home, and her child or her grandchild would actually run outside and be there like, oh no, the gate is missing. When they come back in, they tell Granny, Granny, our gate is missing. So can you please come and help me? She runs out and looks for these thieves. And this game is very, very, very playful. So it has a broad audience, and anybody can actually play it. So this is just a visual illustration of what the game should look like. I'm not too sure if the sound... However, I'd just like to continue. This is how the game would actually look like. That is the main character, which is Action Gogo. She is looking around for her thieves, the ones that have stolen her priceless gate. And yeah, as she moves around, she will encounter enemies that she has to take down. So this game is actually aimed at creating that spark or that interest in that child far away that dreams to be a developer or a game developer somewhere. And this is just to show that it is very possible, Black Child. You can do it. You can actually be a gamer. And this is one of the enemies that have stolen Gogo's priceless gates. And I represent the team of Skinny Boy, and that was our presentation. Thank you very much for your attention.
Oh my God. Wow. Okay, that's a really cool concept. That's a really cool concept. Good job, guys. I think you did hear the hand claps. That was a massive hand clap from the crowd around you. All right. So at this point in time, I would like to hand over to the judges. Hi, judges. I'm back. You have the mic there. If you have got any questions, please do let me know. Clint, if there is any questions from ARAM online, do let us know. Okay, Miss Matebe, go ahead.
Thank you. Thanks, Team Skinny Boy. It was a really great presentation, and I loved Action Gogo. I'd like to play that game. I also love the way you're mixing the player hub. I love the truck. I think what it does is it brings accessibility in a way that is simple and it's relatable, and it actually reminds us of when we were growing up back in the day and you had these mobile containers. You're actually thinking of Telkom. Remember that those mobile Telkom containers when you're growing up? So I think it's really, really incredible. My only question is, have you thought about the cost implications of delivering this model? And how you would then, how many containers would you need per province? Do you have a sense of, would you run this as a campaign? And how it all comes together from an operational perspective.
Thank you for the question, and thank you for your comments. So in terms of our monetization strategy, which is something we didn't present because of the sound glitches there. So what we were looking at is in-game advertising, but then using a method of letting players choose whether they want to watch an ad in a game or not. And by that way, we then offer them a prize. And then that way we would make money from advertisers who actually advertise in the game. And then the Action Goggle bus as well would be used as a moving billboard, which would be where we get some of the funding. But then in terms of running the project initially, we would obviously have to go out and look for sponsorships and then maybe some form of Kickstarter so that we can develop the video streaming service hub. And then we haven't really actually looked at how many trucks we would wanna put in provinces and all that. We were just concentrating on the initial concept of just getting one bus out there and seeing how it works, and then from there we take it from there.
Okay, so I've got a follow-up question on the bus, right? So the bus moves around from location to location. When it gets there, people come and play. Do they pay to play? How do you guys manage, the playing time? Have you guys thought about that?
Honestly speak, we haven't thought about the logistics of how we would have to manage how long it takes for them to play. But then in terms of them paying, the answer is no. The income from advertising, that's what we use to run the project.
Okay, I think something for you guys to think about would be if people are not paying and you are marketing this thing to kids, right? And the kids come and they line up. You need to have a process that is fair, that allows all the kids to have access to the games, to the truck. And you need to have a process where each player is not hogging the space and hogging the game. You find a really talented player and they play for 8 hours and all the kids are out there waiting. So you need to really think through the systems that you're gonna put in place and the processes to manage that truck. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Skinny Boys, for the presentation. Just one question on the bus as well. I know you mentioned the truck will be going around the country. How do you determine where the truck will go? And then two, how do you then know what game is of interest to those people in that location? Thanks.
I'm going to answer number 2 first. So which games do we know which ones to play? Is that your question?
Yeah, let's say you have North Province and South Province. Which game do you know that people would love to play in the North vis-a-vis the South? And then, yeah, how do you determine that you'll go to the North first and not the South?
Okay, so with the aim of our game that we've created, we noticed that some people don't actually know how to play games. So we decided to create a game that is going to introduce them to the gaming industry and also teach them the fundamentals of playing by creating a game that is kind of familiar to them. Okay, so with the game, we're just gonna introduce everybody, and then we can, my goodness, okay, and then we can start introducing other games.
Hi, a great concept, by the way. You mentioned earlier on that you will be making money through advertising. Which platforms will you be advertising on? Have you thought about the platforms that you will put your ads on, and what exactly will you be advertising?
we haven't really thought about the platforms that we'll be advertising on, but in this day and age, everything is pretty much online. So we have kids from everywhere on Facebook, Instagram, social media basically. So advertising would go as far as advertising on Facebook, on social media, television, and on the actual bus itself. So that's and in-game. That's as far as our advertising really goes.
So you'll have like billboards on the bus. Nice one. Okay.
Okay, Miss Matebe, do you have another question maybe? Okay, awesome. Thank you very much, Skinny Boys. A round of applause, please. Yes. So, the next team that I'm going to be happy to hear from is going to be the ladies in the house. That is South. If you could give them a round of applause as they come closer. Okay, I'll be handing over to the
I'd panelists and today, and my fellow. Hey guys, so I had a little bit of an icebreaker before because I'm very nervous. I had a bad feeling about this because I was talking to Lawrence, right, and he said that he was going to tell a joke before he called me up, but so I'm the joke. So, I'm one of the founders for Southgate Loft. We are a game development company. We create 2D, 3D animation design. Thank you, Clinton. I don't go alone, I go with my team. Nompumelelo Kubai, she's a game animator, a game artist, and a programmer. And we also have Diniko, she's an asset designer, game tester, and a game producer. And we also have, we call him Khalifa Mike as well. He's also a game artist and a game designer. And myself, Avuzwa, I'm a writer and the programmer and also a level designer. Next slide, please. Thank you. So how we understood the problem at hand was, one, the user equipment is often out of reach and expensive to buy, and this prohibits people even buying games or even thinking about gaming. And the second was gaming licenses also are expensive, and in most cases you have to purchase the licenses, even though you still have to purchase more, even though you've bought the license. The last was with everything done over the internet connectivity. is the biggest problem, and the expense of data too. And this is also one of the reasons users pull back from game development. Next slide, please. So we had a lot of solutions to the problem, but we kind of had to come together and come up with 3. So with our understanding was that gaming in South Africa or in Africa is a lot of people aren't into it because of the expense of the machines and the internet, or just the capital, even going into owning your own studio or your own game studio. So the first thing we thought about was we didn't want to have a solution that would be way overboard. We wanted something that could relate to the target market, which we also wanted to penetrate places like the villages and communities that are quite far out of, I would say, Joburg. I'd say in this. So we came up with a console decoder/decoder. We thought of going in an old way, but in a new way. So this eliminates the internet usage. So how this would work excuse me. So how this would work is you would pay once, please click next so it could pop up and show. There you go. So how this would work is it would be like your decoder, DSTV or GoTV, for instance. This gives the users an advantage to basically pay once off yearly fee. It cuts out the expenses, and you get to watch live video games. We get to have a channel located to the console. The decoder also allows the user to play a video game and plug and connect your joystick if you're not watching the tournaments on Telkom One. The user also gets to review tournaments on the Ussd platform. This also cuts out what we understood was an issue, which is an expense. So the Ussd code allows the user to review and feel like they are part of the game. It doesn't need internet, and it doesn't need airtime. And if it does need airtime, with Africa Talking, they would only be paying 50 cents from their airtime. So the USSD code that we would use, or the platform, would be Talk Africa. Is the one platform we'd use. This solution solves the problem of an expensive gaming equipment, the expensive data, or the problem with connection over the internet. And potentially, because this would want us to manufacture, we would potentially partner with OpenView or GoTV, because they're already part of the bigger picture in terms of the decoder and the console. That's the first solution. Next slide, please. The second solution was the arcade. We thought about an arcade, more stylish and cool product. Please. Our arcades would still be vintage, but more modernized, or I'd rather say the tech would be way better than it was back then. So we would have an Android software used and a tablet behind the arcade machine. Please press again. So our arcade machine would look something like that, and that would be a touch screen that would be a little bit modernized, but would still keep the joysticks old school. Users have the option to insert coins as little as 50 cents or use the Telkom One smart card. So what we came up with is, instead of using tickets, you could actually have a smart card, and you would use the same system when you refill your Metrobus tag or the BRT system. The user would top up to as little as R1, and it's limitless. You can top up however much you want to play the games, or you could still have the option to actually insert a coin. The arcade also eliminates the problem of data and gaming equipment. This also has kids and our target market start enjoying game and actually start enjoying gaming and opening up their minds more to gaming, to actually say that now gaming it's always been here. We're just creating more solutions that go to them, yeah. Excuse me. And then the container pop-up games. This is similar to Skinny Boy. So here, we're eliminating the problem of equipment, internet usage as well. I saw this is the biggest thing, introducing the latest games through Telkom One streaming platform. So when we have this, container pop-up, we also introducing, we want the kids or our target market or the end user to be comfortable in streaming on Telkom One and make it our streaming platform for all African games that are introduced. And also users get to play Building with Caesar, which is one of our games, which I'll later explain, with almost all the platforms, gaming platforms in the container. The pop-up will be done 6 times a year considering the cost. So the benefits of the container pop-up would that we would also have programming lessons in time. This is future thinking. This was one of the benefits that we had. Next slide, please. Please, next, thank you. So coming to Building with Sizwe. So Building with Sizwe was motivated by a movie called Harnessing the Wind. So Sizwe is a young teenager who grew up in South Africa. Sizwe has always wanted to be a soccer player, but because she's a girl, she could never really play soccer. So Sizwe decides to pursue her dream, and she wants to build her own stadium. So she takes us to her journey and obstacles that she encounters along in building a whole stadium. Next slide, please. So this is our marketing strategy and our monetization. Please press next. Again, thank you. We would have this is on the marketing side of things. We would have a pop-up of our game on PSL matches across South Africa together with Telkom. We would have Sizwe mascot on live matches and a specific cell phone contract that comes out with Sizwe game already installed, and every sale made would get a certain percentage. Monetization, we would be selling a Sizwe soccer stadium puzzles and Legos in retail and tech retail stores, and we would implement ads for rewards and more lives in our game app. This is also another monetization. Because we want to introduce gaming and we want to solve the problem of equipment and having more game studios in South Africa, we would partner with Telkom, introducing Telkom One, introducing the studio contract, excuse the spelling there, teams. And how would we introduce this? For example, now that we're in hackathons, we would have companies that win in hackathons get to qualify for a contract, for a startup studio contract with Telkom. Game development companies would have to meet the normal requirements when getting the contract as a business. This also eliminates the expensive equipment and internet usage. It also encourages more users into gaming space. So what the contract would include would be a gaming laptop, a sketch pad, a gaming PC and monitor, an unlimited data package, South Loft game licensing on our games. Next slide, please. In summary, the Game Loft goals to have as much users being part of the gaming industry again, to connect Olympic athletes to the esport, to create an affordable platform to every gamer, and to tell African stories and African history through our games, and to be innovative. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. It was nice of you to expose me when you started. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, in the interest of time, I would like to hand this time to the judges. All right, can you run that, Clint? Wow, okay. I almost deprived everybody of that exceptional video, hey? Okay, in the interest of time, just do you have a mic? Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much, South Game Loft. I've got a question around your decoder. I wanted to find out, does it come preloaded with games? You said it doesn't connect to the internet, so how would someone, change games? Do you need to go buy another decoder? Have you guys thought through that?
Okay, so the idea was basically to eliminate the internet. We didn't want our end users to worry about internet. So how it would be was that you would connect, you would use it the old school way console where you would connect with a HDMI and a joystick, right? And you would have, then the games would be, yes, installed into the decoder, but it also gives you an option for certain channels to have a live stream of game tournaments online on a TV channel. Like, for instance, for example, Channel O, when they do live TV session with DJs, only this time it would be streaming games, and our users would be part of, for the users that can't afford consoles, they would be part of the gaming world watching, and to make them feel like they're part of it, they can review the game with the Ussd code, which also doesn't need a lot of money or money at all.
I have a comment and a question. I'm laughing because yesterday we were talking about the games arcades and how we used to spend like the whole day at spaza shops when we were growing up. My brother used to drag me with him. I was not into games, but I used to accompany him to play Pac-Man and whatever. And one of the things that we were talking about yesterday was how the machines were vandalized by the kids, and they'll put the coins back in the machine. So I'm glad that you came up with the concept of a voucher system. I think that will be a way to bring back that culture of gaming in townships and especially tuck shops. Instead of kids eating kota at the tuck shops, I think this will be something good to stimulate their minds. So I'm glad you came up with that concept. And also, how are you going, what is your monetization plan around that particularly? How much are you going to sell the vouchers for? And what is your target market? Because obviously I can see this working in townships and for a younger target market. So what are the costings around the voucher system? Sorry.
Okay, so if I understand you correctly, you're asking if the costing of the card itself. We actually hadn't really thought about the cost of the card itself. I don't know if my team members would like to answer this.
Hello, my name is Mpumi Nompumelelo. Okay, so with the card is basically like a 2-in-1. So the card works as a game license, which could either be a scratch card or with a QR code thing at the back. And then you can use that once off. And then you can still use the same card to redeem your rewards for the game. I don't know if I answered the question.
I think she's asking if how much would it cost to get the card?
I haven't thought about it. Yeah.
But, yeah.
Okay. So be along the same lines as your Uber vouchers, is it iTunes? And yeah, okay. Thanks.
Hi, Team Southgate Lofts. Thanks for the presentation. I think it was amazing. I think the key thing for me that I wanted to check with the arcades were the distribution element of it. So how would you because essentially the idea is to get a lot of people gaming, and so how would you distribute your own arcades? Would you partner with local people?
Local people, especially also now that you've actually mentioned, we would partner with people to distribute our arcade.
Okay, so just take me through that, because you would want to, I'm assuming your flagship game would be Sizwe, building with Sizwe, right? So how then do you implement the partnership through the arcades, essentially? So would Sizwe be loaded on the arcades? How would that work?
Yes, arcades, we were thinking because the arcade would be a little bit more arcade, which would at the back somewhat of a tablet with an Android software. It would still be as tapping into Google Store, for instance, but if we and archive games and
Okay, great.
thank you.
I love Suzo, by the way. I love the fact that she's a girl.
Okay, awesome. Clinton, there is.
Okay, hi. Can you hear me? Okay, great. All right. So my question is, you have several products, and first of all, your presentation is really good. Thank you for that. So you have 3 products that you have showcased. So which is the one that's going to be the one that you'll start with, and that will give you the foundation to enable the rest there?
Thank you, Iram, for that question. We would go with the console, the console slash decoder. That is what our team, we're passionate about, and that is our first option that we would go with.
Okay, thank you very much. Can you give the team a round of applause? I love Sizwe too. Sizwe is awesome. All right. Right, so moving it forward, glitch portal. Yeah, it's not you, Sizwe. There's a different Sizwe. Yeah, but you can come up as a Sizwe too. It's okay.
I don't know, but then this doesn't look like it's like it breaks anymore. Is it fine? Will we be able to hear me if I shout?
Yeah, no problem. If you shout.
But it's fine. We'll operate this if it does break off.
Shoot. Good luck.
Wait, how do you put it in? I feel like a lecturer, bro. I feel like a lecturer, bro. Is it showing? Okay. Oh, hello, can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. Okay. Hello to the fellow panelists and hackathon contestants, as well as our sponsors, Telkom, Fakugesi, Temulogong, and ITTHYNK Gaming. Well, we are at Glitch Portal. You might be asking yourself, who is Glitch Portal? Next slide, please. Okay, enter Glitch Portal. No, wait. Back. Yeah. Enter Glitch Portal. We are content creators who give a voice to those who do not have a platform. So what this means is we're trying to provide everyone with a form of equal grounding to inside gaming, inside any form of platform, so everyone has a voice to actually present or speak on or comment on or whatever, be it anything digitally. We started to look into the problem statement at hand. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we looked at the problem statement. So rebooting our economy for better, more sustainable and equitable pro-pandemic world. So we started asking ourselves this question, and we started to go narrow it down some more. So we started to look into esport gaming and trying to make it viable amongst a lot of people. Started to narrow down that a little bit more. So our mission statement is for Glitch Portal to give the esports industry, give the youth that are at a disadvantage, a chance inside esport gaming, and we're trying to just aim for making it accessible and just giving people a chance to actually enter esport gaming, no matter who they are or where they come from. Next slide. Oh, before, yeah, Heaven, who's operating? Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we started to ask ourselves the question, how do we make the esport industry more accessible to children and the youth inside South Africa?
Next slide, please. Hello there. Okay, so the South African gaming market has significantly increased over the past couple of years, definitely due to the pandemic and a lot of other factors as well. These different elements come from like game sales, through streaming, through developers, and most importantly today, through esports. It's an ever-growing industry, and based on these statistics, it's definitely not going to be stopping anytime soon. Next slide, please. So, like I mentioned, how the pandemic actually increased the amount of people. A lot of us were stuck at home, not really a lot of options to do, like a lot of stuff to do. So a lot of people now got introduced to gaming. There were a lot of different mediums and platforms that they could make use of. This could include your consoles, your PlayStations, your Nintendos, your PC, but the biggest one is indeed your mobile. In this day and age, almost every other person has a smartphone, and they have access to like Google Play, Apple Arcades, and they can play all these different sort of games. And it's definitely a lot easier to actually get this thing amongst the public. So that's also why we... next slide, please. So our target market for this initiative is actually aimed towards the youth. Particularly a lot of the community, there are actually a lot of communities out there who are not really aware of esports and even gaming in general. So the goal is to hopefully like educate and show that there is a potential career in the industry, whether this be through esports or through creating games as a developer. So one of the long-term goals as well is like potentially creating different like school like gaming leagues, or even a mobile gaming hub similar to Red Bull's Hit the Street initiative. Next slide, please. Okay, so we believe that this initiative will actually bridge the gap between our future generations and, of course, the gaming industry as a whole. So the ability to actually educate and teach them these skills will help them to enter this market and show these different benefits of what they can make use of. And these proposed solutions would include, next slide.
Hi guys, am I audible? Okay. So now that we understand the current state of the economy and we understand the stats behind it, now the issue is how can we then focus and channel our solutions to try tackle the issues of, one, unemployment, and as well as using that in following up on the esports gaming. So one of the proposed solutions is, or how we, our thought process behind the proposed solutions were to Sorry about that. So the proposed solutions with regards to our phases is phase one, we would implement something that is called the USSD, as well as build on a school platform, which would then be affected as a short to medium term goal, as well as move on to the second phase of the program, which will focus on creating an app. So the use of the USSD is to provide platform for people who do not have access to smartphones, right? And then in terms of the school, the purpose for using the school is to start the kids very young, have them start engaging in esports, and also increase their playability so that they can be, we can start looking at the accessibility of the entire esports fraternity. So phase two, it's actually a cool idea for smartphone users. So the app would tackle things like, or would have things like, so the app would look at things like your playability, the leaderboard. It would also feature a nice thing, which is a notification that would be given to the users so that they can be updated on news related to esports, the leaderboards, as well as upcoming events that would be hosted on that app. So phase three, which is one of the medium to long-term strategies, like many of the groups that are presented here, we would then use a mobile tech hub. The mobile tech hub, it brings, it solves sort of a, or it bridges the gap of accessibility because it brings the gaming hubs and it brings solutions to the actual users who cannot afford to buy consoles or have the equipment or have money to buy the equipment. And then once that mobile hub has been designed, we would then afford the opportunity to these young guys or young girls to be trained in a facility or an institution where they can be also exposed to esports. They can be also trained on to be professional gamers. And then at the end, what we ultimately looking for is to provide work for them throughout the phases of educating them, providing them tools and skills so that they can be employable in the foreseeable future. So the thought process of this is we ignite interest via the USSD to the youth and esports gaming curriculum for school learners. We also measure the number of potential gamers, developers, and other personnel in the esports gaming through phase one and phase two. We also increase the traffic towards the existing VS Gaming app, which you will see at the end of our presentation. We're also trying to provide the skills to children and youth for future employment, which is across all the phases. And lastly, we use tech hubs to host workshops for sharing information and e-gaming events for talent identification. Next slide, please.
Oh, so what happens if you don't own a smartphone? Okay, so my team and I designed and developed a USSD application. And what this means is that the app won't be available to only smartphone owners, but it will also be available to those who only own feature phone phones. Next slide, please. Okay, so what does the USSD application do? The one that we implemented. So as you can see with the screenshot, one has the option of learning what the esports industry is all about. You can check your progress by going to your account, and you can learn on the games that are currently happening. Because how an USSD application works is that you get access to data in real time. So as you can see, the other two screenshots is that you learn about the esports industry, or you can join a league wherever in any particular region that you belong to. And the real-time data that I just mentioned is that it just stipulates that Lara Croft is currently playing with Adam Surfer. So this is the real-time information that you can get, and you'll see a demo soon. Next slide, please. And the tech stack. Okay.
Sorry. I just have to cut them off. Their time is now. Right. I would like to hand over to the judges. Judges, can I kindly take 2 questions if possible? Oh, okay. Clint, can you kindly play the video if they have a video there?
They're on the next couple slides. Sorry, they're on the. Okay, yeah, that's one of them. Yeah, then afterwards. Just click on the image of the phone, please. Okay, so this is a demo of what the potential VS Gaming app is. So, like we were going to mention, is how we wanted to expand on the current Versus Gaming website and expand on adding in some things such as player progress, added tournaments, hosting events, that sort of thing. So let me walk you through the application. Can you press the play button, please? Thank you. So as you can see, here's the application showcasing different events that you can... What's going on? Oh, boy. Okay, so one of the features is it'll allow people to actually host tournaments for those 50 Rand, which then allows other people to join. You'll be able to track your own progress with like different games, different leaderboards against other people in different provinces. This could be whatever's popular, whatever's going new. You can create your own stuff, as well as checking on your own profile, checking your own statistics. There's a developer hub, an organizations hub, and player stats. These can include like what games you have, who are your friends, your teammates, as well as all sorts of different events that you've been registered to. Okay. Now, we would like to show you the concept for our Ussd concept for those who do not own a smartphone.
Okay, so this is the Ussd application in action. As you can see, there's a smartphone and a feature phone next to each other. And the idea behind was just to show that both people can have access to the information and just keep getting updates of what's happening in the esports industry by using the Ussd application. So you can see the implementation that we did. Okay. So the Wi-Fi is a bit slow, but you guys can see. So these are the options that you have. It's just that the screen is a bit unclear.
Okay, thank you very much. Judges, 2 questions, please. We can give them a round of applause while the judges are thinking.
Thank you, Team Glitch Portal, for your presentation. I think it was great. I think what I love the most about your presentation is the education element to it, which is really teaching kids about esports from a very young age. I really like that. How do you raise awareness? How do you raise awareness? Because in order for the Ussd campaign to work, you probably need to generate interest first. So how are you going to do that?
Hello? Oh. Okay, how are we going to raise awareness? It will be through our different forms of marketing for the applications by means of sponsorships, advertisements, the truck, and also through the SIM card on its own as well. Due to that, the whole USSD idea, actually, it also just like gives the the Telkom user an opportunity to go see other new things, as well as just play around and see, okay, cool, what can Telkom offer me, or whatever. Yeah, so that, yeah.
I've got a question around your school leagues. How are you going to convince parents and teachers that instead of the guys doing homework after school, they need to go play games? How do you deal with that stereotype?
Yeah, so there's always been a big stigma around the whole gaming being a waste of time, but as we can see today, like how a lot of us are creating games, it's helping us to actually show that we can create these stories, create these different characters, these different environments, sort of things. So if we get this whole school project, educate them, like show, here are different opportunities. You can either like learn to play like your Fortnite, your FIFA, all that, like learn to get good at that. That's one career opportunity. Alternatively, if you want to be on the more expressive, you could like learn how to develop and create the games. So showing that at an early age and like convincing parents and showing that it's not all just fun and games, that there is definitely an opportunity there to like learn and leave an impact on the world. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glitch Portal. You can take a seat. Your presentation was awesome. There you go. That's yours. Okay, awesome. So moving on to the next team. It's the team of the boys. Okay, you can stand up, team attributes. You can come through and present your solutions. Let's give them a round of applause.
Hello guys, our team is called Attribute, and we're not all a team of boys. The only female lives like a province away, so she couldn't make it, but she's been giving us a lot of information to work with. We are a group of game design students doing their final year, so we approach our problems very critically and with a lot of nuance into the study of game design. Okay, so what we made is Slime Slider, which is an accessible competitive game, right? So the way we thought about it was accessibility and competitiveness, and then we're gonna talk about how those two things can sort of solve the problem at a core to where it can even start without too much intervening from like external factors, and how those can actually just boost it.
Right now, we're going to talk about the introduction of the things we're going to cover today. First of all is why do we choose to make a games and not a platform service? We're going to go further to that, and we're going to choose and why we choose the hardware, and the first the idea is that we're trying to build a community, and we're going to talk about who's our customer, and then we're going to talk about the challenges of making this type of games, and we're going to talk about our solutions about making the game. And then Homelang is going to talk about his anecdotal example of how he got into games, and then we are going to give you a conclusion, a very fast thing. Next slide. Oh, yeah. Go on.
So we read the problem statement, and we were kind of given like a little bit of solutions, right? And we were like, okay, we're looking at these, and what can we do, right? And so that's why we want to say to you guys, and we want you to understand, why did we choose a game? Why did we not choose an app? Why did we not choose Telkom One, right? Why did we not choose like streaming or a gaming device, right? We have like two big examples to pull from, right? We have Mixer, which was made by Microsoft. Like, how much pool of money do those people have? And they still couldn't compete with Twitch, right? And then we thought about like a device, Google Stadia. Like Google, of all people, made a device and they could not make it work, right? It's struggling so much for market share against PlayStation and Xbox and PC, right? Like those things have gained a big foothold. But when you start looking at things that have boosted themselves into relevancy, like Epic Games or Steam, even though Steam is 2006 when it boosted itself, what made them get there, right? It was pilot games or flagship games, as other people like to call them. That is how they blew themselves to relevancy, right? It was the game. Before we had Epic Games, Fortnite was famous, and then Epic Games came second. The platform comes second to the tool, right? And we're gonna explain what we mean by the tool in the ball analogy, right? And then you look at the success of Steam. CSGO is one of the most played games in the world, probably in South Africa as well. And it's what made Steam relevant, the game, right? It is the core, right? So we are trying to make a game that is now going to pilot a competitive community. Just like it started in America with Smash Brothers, it was offline, no access, and it still piloted an esports community without external intervention.
Next slide. Okay, this is pretty much the practical things that you need to think about when you're making a platform. First of all, you're gonna need to think of the costs. Like, to make any platform, whether it's an app or a streaming service, you gotta need to think about how you're gonna pay for this, how are you gonna keep it running. So it's gonna be very expensive. And then why people will choose your app instead of the competitor's app. So now, in our case, our game is very low end, and literally the genre we're choosing is that the game itself can only be played at higher end. So we're trying to literally teach smaller communities to learn how to go to that end goal. And then now you need to think about storage, like storage and bandwidth, like how fast is your internet gonna go? And also you're gonna need to think about like how much storage can you take at a certain time, like at a certain second. Like things were breaking. YouTube in the 2000s were breaking because it was still new. And that's why there was like things that say like they broke the internet. There's a reason why it's called like that. It's because people were going on there and there was too many people and then it crashes. So now you need to think about that. And then communities, okay? Twitch already has a community. And then now you are gonna compete with Twitch and you're gonna need to ask yourself like, who are these people who are gonna come to your community? Like you're gonna need to literally think about who are coming to your community, and you're going to become the people who are, you're going to get you're going to get the people that are not allowed in Twitch, and then you're just going to jump to your community, and that will literally be your problem. And then the audience and versus content creator, the vicious cycle. Like how are you going to get these content creators? To get content creators, you need an audience, and to get an audience, you need content creator. That's another vicious cycle. And then what's the ecosystem without a community? That's the thing. You're just making a streaming device, but for what? Like, for who? Like, you need to think about the community you're trying to tap. And then next, now we're gonna, next slide. We're just gonna, we'll just skip that one.
So now that we've outlined why we've chosen our solution, we're gonna talk about what it is, right? So our solution is a free-to-play game that fosters a competitive environment. But how? You keep saying it fosters, right? We had an early example of Young Savage and how he became an esports player. He started on a TV game with a football game. Now he's a FIFA champion for Africa, right? And then I started on an arcade, and I'm now good at every fighting game. So we're presenting a fighting game at a very low level, but from our skill and understanding, we're trying to make it as nuanced as we can in terms of how much you use your mind to play the game. Even though you can access it on mobile, because we're making it low end, we're trying to keep the skill cap high, right? Because we want these people to discover their talent through the game. The game is a plastic ball, right? And he will explain what we mean by the game is the plastic ball.
Pretty much our idea, when you think of high end, you think of it as a ball, as a jabulani, you know? You're getting the jabulani. So what we're trying to get is get to mid-range where you get another ball from Pick and Pay, you know? What we're trying to do is create the plastic ball, a ball where you literally can take out the things that you already have and try to make a ball out of it. That's pretty much what we're trying to do. Next slide. And literally, and now we're going to talk about the stadiums. the stadiums for us is literally this one. Our gaming laptops starts at this price. That's pretty much how you have to create these games. You start here, and most esports players are starting at that price, and people cannot start there, you know? And that's literally, we call that, you can call that any stadium you like that is expensive and we're still paying for it. Next slide. And then now, this is a low-end laptop, which costs like 3.8. And you can see that the price difference just went down straight. And then now we went to the really low range, and we call these the streets. This is where you are going to be kicking the ball, guys. This is the streets, my guys. Next, this is how you create a gaming community. I mean, you start here with the big things. This is where Smash Bros was created, through these type of communities, through people who had the stuff and they brought themselves together to create the stuff. First of all, skipping. Okay, we're going to talk about the challenges of mobile games and low ends. Okay.
I know what comes before this. So what happens is we were talking about the ball analogy, right? Before Messi became the big football player you know now, he probably started with a cheap soccer ball, right? And that is what we are trying to provide. It's not a high-end game, it's not Mortal Kombat, but the skill you get from a fighting game can go to literally any game. Same way as Young Savage's skill in a pixelated football game translated to winning FIFA in all of South Africa, right? The skill stays, and we're trying to give the skill or give people a chance to find the skill. And this is where we start talking about the availability of mobile games, because you're like, wait, but mobile games are already available. They're already accessible, you know? We already have those streets. Okay, we already have those streets. So now we're saying in those streets, what games are people playing? We are trying to make them play games that will encourage their skill, not games that will be profit-based mainly.
Okay, skip to the conclusion because we don't have time. Okay, conclusion, pretty much why game, why this game? Cheap to make, low cost storage, and bandwidth. Our game is pretty much Slime Slider. It's a competitive push game, but we also call it a brawler. And our customer is pretty much a fighting game enthusiast of all ages who aspire to become an athlete. Why phones and laptops? People already have this stuff. You have it already. It's right here in your pockets. And main goal of the game is to give people a starting point to the fighting game community. Second goal is to grow the community and bring people who don't know about esports. But first, you gotta need to make them like games first before you tell them about esports. They'll just be thinking about the money. Next slide. And pretty much, these are all the sources of why not streaming platforms. They're out there on YouTube. And video, play the video, please. Huh?
So this is just a mini clip of some slime sliders. My name is Peter, by the way. This is the engine we use, Unity engine, to make the game as well. This is just so this is going to be just a quick gameplay of how the game works. So why is the video not playing? So potentially, please press pause. Press pause on the video. So potentially how the game works, right? It's an esports. So esports means we need to work as a team. Me and my partner need to work as a team. Usually the games that we usually play, like me and my friend, we play Apex Legends. And it requires a lot of technology to, a good PC, like you can see our setups, in order to play. So we went for a basic minimalistic art style. So it does not take much in terms of streaming data and streaming budget. So depending on whatever network you have, whether it's 2G, 3G, or 4G, it'll be able and easy to stream it onto any platform. So how the game works is that these two players, two on that side, two on that side, are tasked to getting the other players to fall off the map. So whenever a player jumps on a platform, after a while, the platforms will disappear after 30 seconds, right? In order for that platform to come back, it's either you can shoot it with slime on top, preventing a platform from falling. So let's say one of the platforms about to fall and your teammate is there, and he doesn't notice, you can shoot slime there and prevent him from falling. But
small game, big strategy.
yes, small game, big strategy.
Yes.
But,
and we're trying to give the solution to the devs so that the devs can actively solve the problem, even with little funding or their own, like we're doing now.
Okay, awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you, guys. Judges.
Great presentation. I have a question about the low data models that you have presented. I think it's a question that I'm raising to all the teams that have presented, because that came out a lot. We all know that data costs are quite high in South Africa, and I just need you to clarify how you're going to go around making sure that the data costs are low, because we all know that they're determined by ICASA and your telecoms company. So how are you going to go around there to ensure that you still come up with a model that has low data costs? I mean, yeah.
Oh, okay. So as you can saw, we skipped a lot of slides because we had a lot of content, but we're trying to replicate how other esports have grown, and that is locally, that is offline. That's the arcade you say you went with your brother to play. You find people stacking their 50 cents there, they talk there, they compete there. That's where I'd say most pro players grow, even the one overseas, is on the offline local places. But the games that are provided there are not good enough to foster that thing. So we're just providing a good game, but we're not looking at the streaming. We're trying to attack the foundation, just not the high end with a bad foundation.
Thank you very much. Are you happy, Joy?
Thank you, Team Attribute. Is that your Team Attribute? Awesome. Thanks for your presentation. Very, very comprehensive in terms of how you identified the problems. And I think you really did a good job in articulating the ecosystem problems. I do like the game. I like your concepts around making sure that it's not a low-end game, and that the skill, because ultimately in esports we're trying to develop professionals. We're not trying to just get people gaming. So that I like. The question I have for you is, how do you know for sure that the skills that you get from that game are transferable into other games that are in leagues? So how do you know that for sure? And then secondly, how do you raise interest in the game? What else are you going to do to make sure that you raise interest? Thank you.
I will answer the first question. He'll answer the interest question. The games, competitive games, you can find League of Legends, and then there's a semi-clone called Dota 2. There's CSGO, and then there's a semi-clone called Valorant. There is Smash Brothers, the original esports, and there's a semi-clone called Brawlhalla, right? And this is a semi-clone driving the same skill from those types of games. So it's a brawler type game. You manage the space, you look at what's going on, you try to read how to not fall off the map. And if you check those original esports games like Smash Bros. And now Brawlhalla, you'll see this same type of layout and like a similar sort of skill, even though our game has its unique elements because we had to make something original. You will see a lot of the homage to the skill in our game as much as you'll see in the other ones.
And then to answer on your second question about how do we get the community involved, right? So for me, growing up, especially in Bram, there used to be an arcade shop where we just hoard the coins. And the best way I saw, one of the quickest way would be like, in every mall in Gauteng, there is a Telkom shop, right? And in every mall, that's one common area where whether rich, poor, or middle-class people come in to convene. And where most people are at the food court. That's where you get most children chilling. So now if there was like a Telkom hub there, right, with laptops, like low budget laptops, about 4,000 rands, and you give each kid 30 rands for an hour. In total, you'd need about, let's say 20 laptops in one shop will be about 80K. If you give each kid 30 rands an hour for a whole week, that's already 57K that you've made back. So in terms of how you can get the community, we can put it in common areas, starting with the mall. From malls, we got 2 centers, and how we built the esports environment. We could have Eastgate Mall, whoever are the top teams competing there. Next week, they'll be versing Westgate Mall, and we can have a bigger competition in terms of that, depending on which area you'll be in. So that's how we saw we could attract the customer base.
And there could also be like a free version of the game that'll benefit of ad revenue.
Thank you very much, guys. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, awesome. So moving right along, we've got 2 teams to go. All right, so the next team to come up is Team Gundi. Gundi no Maz. Mupho Maz.
You already started counting? Oh, that's mean. Okay. All right. Apologies. All right. So, greetings, ladies and gentlemen, our fellow colleagues, our judges, and the organizers. Thank you for this opportunity. So today we have come to present our solution to the problem that was presented on the first day of the hackathon. Please, next slide. All right, we seem to have skipped the slide, but essentially the team that I collaborated with is Tando, the web developer, Lincoln, our researcher and advisor, Mr. Gundi himself, his name is David. He was helping us out with the project management, and my name is Zawadi Koza. I was the lead designer for the project. All right, so this is a table of contents. I would go through it, but for the sake of time, you see it, and we'll just jump into it. All right, so the background of the problem is, according to stats that say approximately 60.14 million people are populating South Africa today. Out of all 60 million of those people, only 53.5 have internet access. And out of all of those people, only 9.7 have internet access at home. That means the people in this room are part of that 9.7%. There's not a lot of people who have internet access to the point where they could develop their skills that are digital based to a high level. So we know that one of the reasons for this is unemployment. We have a high unemployment rate in South Africa. It's 34.4%, and it's continually rising. So how we would like to address the problem is essentially to address the problem of unemployment to a low extent, internet access, but also the point of gaming. All right, can I please take a moment to breathe? Okay, cool. Okay. All right, so basically, we're still on the first slide. You can leave it there for now. But basically, one of the core problems that we have is that we don't have access to gaming as much as we'd like to. So since we know that 53.5% of people have access to internet, some of the reasons for that are basically it's the unemployment issue, so people don't have the money to buy the gaming systems that we need to do this. On top of that, there's not enough infrastructure for them to join the online community when it comes to gaming. So enter our solution to the problem, Accessa TV. So basically, this name came from us trying to address the problem of creating accessibility to South Africans in the digital space. And we just decided to change the word access for exe, which is a greeting, just to show that we're talking to the people, you know. We're also mostly from the hood, so it made sense. So we can also pronounce it as accessa, relo accessa diding. So, okay, cool. Next slide, please. All right, so the vision of Accessa TV is to grow the esport community from a grassroots level throughout the community or the country. So please excuse some of the spelling errors that we have. We spent more time planning the project than the presentation itself. So yeah, please bear with us and thank you. So that is the vision. And our mission statement is basically, Accessa will provide a platform for esport players and content creators to share their gaming or creative experiences with spectators from all walks of life through streaming while optimizing accessibility to end users. So with this mission in mind, we need to define the word, the premise of Accessa. We know what the mission is, but what is it exactly? And we played ourselves by now putting the answer over there. So can I please find it real quick? This is nerve-wracking, my God. Okay, okay, cool. How are we doing on time, sir? 4 minutes, okay, cool. All right. So, the product that we intend to produce, excuse me. Okay, screw it. What is Accessa? Accessa is an entertainment-based streaming platform. It's a web-based entertainment platform that is meant to connect people through streaming. Why is it necessary? It is a low to no cost streaming service. It goes to the people. Screw it, can you please get to the next slide? Thank you. So basically, this will demonstrate our minimum viable product, which is the website. And after that, we will go into more of the business model. And can you please play that? Is the sound on? Do we have sound?
Dream section. Yes. Section we have like
okay.
Other content creators who are online. Then popular games are probably like the most played games on our platform, and then we have popular type.
Okay, I'll just take over for please just mute it, and I'll just take over from here.
This is basically.
All right, so this is the website, this is our interface. Basically, we based our model on Twitch because that may be one of our competitors. However, the key difference is going to be how we give access to local people, addressing that issue of the people who have minimal access to internet. But like the fundamental structure of a website just carries through. So we have where we're gonna show like live streamers. We're going to promote certain popular streamers. We are going to speak about the new streamers. We're going to have a player leaderboard. So as you can see, some of our previous colleagues presented a similar idea. And can we move to the next slide to demonstrate how the key difference that we may have to our competitors. So our method of implementation will be from the website. Once that's up and running, it will be the core of the platform, but we'll also have an app where we integrate the web service into the people's smartphones. So we've also had in mind the low-end smartphones, as was also demonstrated by our previous colleagues. And once that is well integrated, we are going to move to the mobile hub, which was also mentioned before. However, this is where users can convene to spectate or create esports content. So going beyond just people being able to play games at those spaces, we will be collecting some information to display. We're going to be collecting information to better address the issue at hand, which is giving accessibility to the people that we're trying to create the product for. So they will be giving us feedback in terms of what they actually want from the service itself and how we can improve it to serve them. And once that is a success, we can create a permanent space that is integrated into the community. So basically we can have, as part of a school system where we have one of our hubs presented at the space. So can you please move to the next slide? All right, so our product is unique based on the solution model that we developed. We did not know that our team members our colleagues would have similar ideas, but I feel like that last point kind of gives us a bit of an edge. And basically, we are specific to the market. So we are tailored for South African users across the board because this service will be going specifically to the people who need the service. And once you've established the need and how it's going to serve them, then we will be able to better integrate it. And it is a pioneer in the market because there is no other streaming service of its kind in South Africa. And therefore, once we get this up and running, and if we manage to get it to be successful, we will also be pioneers in the industry. And can we please skip that last point? Because, yeah, time. Anyway, market opportunity overview. So basically, we looked at the figures from Twitch. Is time up? Okay, just to wrap up quickly. We looked at Twitch, and these are some of their figures. So basically 18.16 billion hours of content is streamed on that platform. 9 million users stream on Twitch once a month, and then 2.3 billion was made in revenue from subscriptions by Twitch. We're gonna make most of our money through subscriptions and also advertisement to a certain degree. There will also be donations and things of that nature. So this is the model for that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Awesome, awesome, awesome. To the judges, can I kindly take one question, please?
Okay. Thanks for the presentation. I just wanted to ask around, you've mentioned that the platform will be targeting the community. Excuse me, how do you capture the content? How do you plan to, well, it's one thing for the community to come to the platform, to the community level, but how do you capture the content to get it onto the platform? Thanks.
So we would have some key content creators. So in the launch of the website, basically we would have key creators to promote the website, and through them we will basically be inviting people to try the service out themselves, and basically they will be the user that will also be the creator on the platform, and that's how it's going to expand from that point. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Cool.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. Let's give them a round of applause for that amazing and awesome presentation. Okay. Now to the last team, please help me welcome Ben Code. They have their presentation ready. The time is counting, eh?
Good day, ladies and gentlemen. So, PIN code, we are a blended team. We have 2 guys in Cape Town and 2 who are here. So then we're gonna start with Jerome, who is in Cape Town.
Can you guys hear me?
Jerome, can you please
I can
share your document? Okay, Jerome, you can start.
Cool. So, hi, Philip, Lakai, Kaklejo, and myself, Jerome. We're going to be talking about the esports industry in South Africa. Could you transition the slide, please? Many South Africans cannot enter the esports industry due to the setup costs and the lack of consistent rewards for participating. So for our problem statement, we've broken down each target audience or actors into the following categories: desires or wants, obstacles or issues, and how to delight or satisfy for each. For athletes, they desire a career in esports. They desire also to compete. The obstacles they face are equipment, stable, fast internet, as well as the stigma that comes with that. To satisfy them, we need an equipment-free solution, non-geographical events, and more exposure to success stories for motivation. For our viewers, they desire entertainment, a sense of community, and the obstacles that they face is sponsors or investors. They desire a return on viewership of local talent. To satisfy them, we need to bring exposure to the promising talent and bring awareness to the potentials towards the untapped esports industry in Africa. I'm going to hand over to Philip now, who will discuss our solution statement. Next slide, please.
Next slide, please. Now, in solving our problem statement, we are going to develop a progressive web application. Now, this web application will contain a collection of games which will allow our athletes to compete in tournaments for grand prizes. Now, this web application will also give the opportunity for viewers to view their favorite athletes and games at a lower cost. So then we will be using a system, a multiplayer system for lowering the cost. And now this solution will offer for athletes low or no cost for infrastructure. What do we mean about that is that they don't need to buy all the expensive laptops or anything. They just need to access the platform on any smartphone device. And now this platform aims to promote our local talent by generating user profiles. Now, those athletes will be profiled based on the games they play and how well they play. And then that data will be sent to the sponsors, which they can sponsor whoever is high performing. And also, we have a solution for our viewers in terms of low consumption of data. As I've mentioned that when they're watching live broadcast, we're gonna use a multiplayer system technique in which only small bits of information is when a game is playing. If in a game a player moves, only that information is sent rather than streaming a whole video that will need that will require a lot of data. Now, we also added a function for viewers who are 18 and above, the opportunity to bet on their favorite athletes and also the games that they think they might win. And we are going to embed a community or forum for viewers to have discussions around the games and have a community to remove the stigma around playing games and watching games. Because as we know, in Africa, when you watch games, they'd be like, you're just wasting time. There's nothing you are doing with that. So then we aim at eliminating that by creating gaming community forums where people can meet and discuss everything they think about games. And for sponsors and advertisers, what we are aiming to do is to make sure that they can advertise on our platform, and also the sponsors, we will affiliate them with high-performing athletes. Now we have generated a profit formula out of the platform. Now we will be making commission on sponsorship transaction, and then we'll also make commission based on the advert. We're still on the same slide. We will make commission on brand advertising and targeted ads, and then we'll also make a feature for premium subscription where users can interact with athletes and they can customize their profiles. And also we'll make commission from betting. The next slide, please. The next slide is about the operating models. Now, in operating models, we have three aspects. We have key activities, key resources, and key partners. Now, our key activities are things that we'll be doing on a regular basis. And our key resources are things that we need for the business to be a success. And our key partners will also need them in order to assist in making the business a success. Now, our key activities include organizing tournaments, recruiting athletes, working with developers to create and in-house games and regulate bets, as well as maintaining the platform. And then for key resources, we're gonna need cloud infrastructure for hosting our platform. We're gonna need developers for maintaining and also for developing games. We're gonna need hardware such as laptops for developers, and software for developer IDEs. We're gonna need internet, and also our customer database or user database. And then in the partner aspects, we're gonna need gaming developer or publishers, as other games we might not own them, so then we'll need to partner up with other publishers. We will also need sponsors in order to sponsor athletes so that they can make a career out of gaming, and advertisers in order to generate profit. Now we're gonna hand over to Jerome, and he's gonna talk about the market landscape.
Next slide, please. Cool. The video game industry is massive. In fact, it's more significant than the film, music industry combined, and it's only going to keep growing. However, it still doesn't receive the same recognition as the film and the music industry. With over 2 million gamers worldwide, that equates to 26% of the world's population. And Africa is estimated to have over 700 million players that are untapped. So moving on to our financial and market model. For this, we will be referring to this during the question and answer session. So if you have any questions during that point, we will bring up the slides that are related to that. We'll be handing over to Malachi and Kaklego, who will be demonstrating the MVP that they created. Thank you, guys.
Hi, good day everyone, and this is our wireframe. This is the sign up page where users can sign up. This is the sign in. This over here is our home screen. As you can see, there are various things such as the basic games and the intermediate games, as well as the tournament and the community. And this is what the following page looks like. this is the browsing page. Here people can browse and look for various games to play and other athletes to watch. This is the games page where you can play the games. This would be the esports page where you can watch live tournaments. This is the player profile and profile settings. This is the profile.
Sorry, I'm not sure if you guys can actually hear the sound, but the clip does actually have a voiceover of the developers talking about it.
Yeah, it does actually have the voiceover explaining what is happening on each screen.
Thank you, guys. Now we're gonna be handing to Kat on the prototype. No, we only have a wireframe and a prototype, a working prototype.
There is no sound on the stream anymore.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen. So we created a prototype whereby, firstly, when you go in, you're going to need to register. After registering, it's going to need your ID, because within the game, you will be having the option. We're giving viewers the option to be invested within the game by letting them bet against players. Maybe you can say, buy airtime and then use that to bet against another player. So can we quickly go down? Scroll. Okay. Thank you. Scroll, 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 scroll. Yes. So basic games, this is like your CV. When you get inside the platform, you need to build your skills around the games, because we are trying to say provide work, provide job opportunities. But before you can give someone a job, you have to train them. So 30 seconds. Thank you very much. So if you can click a game right there. Can you click? Any game. So it will take you to that specific particular game. Why is it not doing? Okay, still. So these games will allow you to, little by little, have those potential skills, knowing what to do, which buttons to press, and then how to deal with difficulties, so that after having accessed analyzed your performance, we can then take you to the other games which are for experts and professionals. So you can be playing against other players and also nationwide. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Let's give them a round of applause. Cool stuff, cool stuff, cool stuff. Okay, judges, can I take one question, please?
Thank you, team bind mode. Or is it bin mode? Bind code. Bind code. I think your presentation and your problem statement, in fact, you understood the problem extremely well, and you outlaid it, from, different perspectives, like sponsors and athletes and the community. So I think you did really well in understanding the problem. My question to you in the solution is, with regards to the solution is, when you look at your platform, how does it compete, or how is it similar or different from VS Gaming, which already exists as a platform, as well as Telkom One?
Hi there. Thanks for the question. So the way that we are competing is we are not necessarily competing with them. We understand that we cannot reach that level in terms of like just the hardware and everything that is required to get people up to that point. We are merely tackling the foundation. So we are hopefully trying to get people and testing them on the skills, for example, reaction timing, predictive thinking, and these small games will test those things and basically give them a a collection of skill points, and then those skill points will be used to then screen these players, and they would then be moved on to a more complex game, which we would work with internal developers or local developers, and these games will be kind of like simplified clones of the mainstream games, and they'll be able to play this on cheaper end hardware. This can be their phone or the laptops if they do it further. And then from there, once they've reached a certain skill, we can then promote them to the sponsors like DLG and so on and so on.
Okay, thank you very much, Jerome. Thank you very much to everyone that is here. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay, awesome. So we've got to the part where the judges have to make a plan. The judges have to make a very interesting plan. So now the focus shifts to the judges. Judges, can I give you some time to have a chat and then come back to us and give us the good news? Okay, participants, how are you guys feeling? You're feeling a little bit so. Okay, Game Loft, how are you guys feeling by the corner there? You're good. Okay, Glitch Portal, any glitches? You're good. Okay. Pine Code, how are you feeling? You're good. Okay, the Skinny Boys, how is it going? Okay, the Skinny Boy squad feels like Action Goggle. Okay, Gundi, how are you guys feeling? You are good. Okay, cool, awesome stuff. So, while the judges are deliberating, I want us to have a conversation, hey? And my interest really is in trying to understand from you guys. You've spent 3 days with us here, the iClub being your office. What does it mean for you guys being here? Pretty much, who are you and what has this done for you? Let me start with the Skinny Boy Game Jam. Would you like guys to share your ideas around that? Okay, Skinny Boys is still tossing the question around. The Gundi team.
All right, on behalf of the team, personally, it's been a great opportunity and actually meeting new people in different career and in different platforms. It's my first time participating in kind of event, and I think it's a good initiative. I think such events need to be done in other communities, so that people can be exposed in gaming industry. And for me to be here is a blessing. Meeting you guys, and making new friends, having a good presentations, good food, So yeah, in general, I'll say it's been an honor to be here. A good experience. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. From Team Gundi, they've had a fabulous time here. It's an honor for them to be here. Okay, let's have a chat with Attribute. How do you feel, guys?
Hello, everybody. Personally, I felt like it was very good that we all came together in this space and just gave ourselves like 3 days to create. Like working under pressure, seeing all the talent that was presented via the sliders here. It was just an amazing thing to witness, and I really think that all of us today formed a part in growing the gaming culture further in our country. And I'm really thankful for everybody for like pulling up and just doing your thing and coming up with dope ideas, and good luck to everyone. Thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So they are saying they've had the experience of dope ideas in this room. Does that count for the 50,000? Okay. Let me just say to the lovely ladies here, how do you guys feel? What does it mean being here? How have you had, or rather, how do you take up this whole experience?
Firstly, being the only group that is actually dominated by females. I mean, like majority in here. Majority in here, like I see male figures, and there's only there's only 5 females actually. Come to think of it, but yeah, I just. Oh, 6. Oh, yes. Oh, my bad. Okay. But yeah, basically, this whole program has actually proved that gaming is not just for the male community. I mean, females can also do it. If you have the passion and you're interested and you have the zeal for it, I mean, why not just go for it? Don't be intimidated by the masculine people around you. Just go and do this thing. I mean, if we can do it, just the 3 of us, I mean, anyone else can also do it.
Thank you very much. So if the ladies can do it, surely anybody can do it, right? Okay, so let me just move to the next team that is here. Any glitches, guys? No glitches. Okay. Okay. So how do you guys feel about the experience that you've had here?
I think for me, the biggest thing which was great to see is the synergies in terms of the solutions that all the teams had. Most of the solutions from different teams were quite similar, and which shows that we are all striving to solve for the same problem, which is the issue of accessibility. And in a bigger form, I'll reiterate this, it solves the problem of unemployment, because if there are no adequate skills that are provided or platforms that provide for the skills, then the unemployment issue will still exist.
Okay, awesome. No, Siso, you can't say something. Right, thank you very much for the contributions, guys. It's been really lovely to have you guys here and have a shared experience with you guys. So what I'm getting is a lot of wisdom from you guys, eh? And I'd like to share a bit of wisdom that I got, from a dropout, as we would call it in South Africa, right? I know when you put the word wisdom and dropout in one line, it sounds rather oxymoronic and weird, right? But what I've come to learn is that when you spend time in South Africa and you speak to the people, right, you get a lot of wisdom, right? We have put these fancy liners or fancy headlines where we say people need to go to school. Well, we have been to school at some point. We dropped out. We decided to leave school for whatever reason, right? But what is absolutely crucial is that even if you leave school, education need not stop. Right? Yes, you may not have a degree, but the education needs not stop. You need not to let school get in the way of your education. Right? For you to be a success in stuff or anything that you do, in stuff that you do, education is absolutely critical. Right? But you need not go to school for you to assume or at least believe that you got the education. Right? And starting from here, right? Just go out there, be yourself, have fun, do everything that is within you, be the best version of yourself. Right? Let me pause. I'm seeing Ben is carrying a check. Are you going to write numbers? Okay, he's going to write some stuff soon. Right? So, as you go beyond this point, guys, right, you've met awesome people. Right? Yes, we're all competitive. Yes, we all want to be unique. But try and change your paradigm. Think of collaboration instead. Right? This is Africa. There is always sayings about everything in Africa. Right? And somebody once said, if you really want to go fast, it's quite cool to go alone. But if you want to go a long way, then you might need to find counterparts for your journey. right? I'm a massive proponent of you guys finding counterparts for your journeys, right? The one thing that we have learned here is that all your solutions speaks to a certain element within the bigger context, right? But if you combine all your solutions, what we get out is going to be most likely way greater than the sum of the individual parts, right? So, as Douglas was alluding to on the first day, right, can you name somebody that is sitting on the other table, right? People that you didn't go to school with, right? That is an element of what? Of collaboration. That is an element of what? Creating synergies between the two of you, between the three of you, the four of you, the five of you. Okay, right? So beyond this point, seek collaboration, seek idea exchange. No one is going to steal your idea, right? But yes, they can. Depends. Right? But the one thing that is really beautiful about that is, even if somebody steals your idea, they cannot implement it the way you thought it would be implemented. Right? They may have the resources, right? They may have the money or whatever you perceive as capital. Right? But at the end of the day, if the idea was given to you by God, surely it is unto you to implement this idea so we can reap the fruits of your ideas. Right? So, with that in mind, there's one element that I would like to also share about that. Right? As we are here, we are planting the seeds. Right? But be cognizant of one crucial element. The shade that we are going to get from the trees whose seeds we have planted today is not for us to enjoy. We are laying a foundation for those that will come after us. Right? The next generation will probably just water the seed and move on. The next generation will till the land and make sure that the land is much more fertile and is more conducive for the tree to grow. But generations later, those that will look back would say in 2021 the seed was planted. Right? Know your role on earth. Right? Play that role to the best possible ability that you can. And for you to do that, take care of that one vehicle that you have that is going to carry you through this life, which is your body. If you can do that, I really think you'd have played a crucial role for those that will come after you. Right? A very smart man back in the day once said, you become that which you repeatedly do on a daily basis. Right? So if you repeatedly do X, you will become X ultimately. Right? And stemming from that, I need you guys to understand that for you to be excellent, then that means you need to practice excellence on a daily basis. For you to be excellent in the longer term, then that means excellence ought to be a habit and not an act. You cannot wake up today and be excellent on Saturday, then on Thursday evening you are chilling and all is good. Do you understand that? So pick up the reins, run with it, build everything, be excellent on a daily. All right? Right. So those are some of the simple lessons that you get from people that we call the dropouts. All right? So, Skinny Boys, Game Jam. How does it feel being here?
I will say at first it was overwhelming, but as we got through the days, we started getting relaxed. And one thing that I would like to point out is that I would like to thank ITTHYNK, Telkom, Tsumulogong, and Fakugesi, because we might just think that this is just a game jam or a hackathon. Big corporations would call this a team building. So we got a team building session for free. Big corporations would call this networking because we got to meet different people and we've made connections. For instance, in Skinny Boy Studios, we got 2 new partners in just 3 days. So we would like to thank you for that opportunity.
Yep. I'm glad the judges are smiling. That means we'll do this again. Ne? All right, so to the last team that we have here, what did you guys take from this and how do you feel?
As a software developer, I had no background in gaming, and I only thought that we would be only considering the background of developing stuff. But then what we've learned is that there's planning before you can implement, and your plan must be proofread and it must hold water before you can even move forward. And I think I've learned that before you can even think of implementing anything, you should start by planning it. Because if you don't, chances are you're gonna fail at doing it. And even when you plan, just be real to yourself, because sometimes we just perceive that whatever we're doing is gonna succeed, but then can you really perceive it when you're in the shoes of the end user who's gonna use that product? So then I'd say big ups to Fakugesi, ITTHYNK Gaming, Telkom. We really learned a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Surely this was a massive success. Right, from the perspective of our participants, this was fun. This was quite informative. Right, the ladies were involved too. Right, but hey, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Hey, there was only 6 ladies. Guys, we need to make a plan. Eh? We need to make a plan. I don't know. Well, we need to make a plan and bring more ladies into the gaming space. We need to make a plan and bring participation of the females into this space. Right? I really think there's some creative element out there that we can actually tap into from a lady's perspective. Right? Okay, he agrees finally. We're not going to make ladies, we're going to bring them into the space. Okay, that's an awesome contribution, but I'll never be able to explain it better than you. Here's the mic.
Okay, because this is digital art. We're all sitting down in chairs. So where is the manliness there? Like when you think about a gamer, you think about this like sweaty dude, you know? And so the idea is that, you know, when it comes to gaming, we can all just sit down, play on a controller or on our phones, you know? So you gotta remove the stigma of what gaming is for.
Okay, thank you very much. We gotta remove the stigma of who gaming is for. So I'm taking a walk to the judges. Ne? You know why? There's stuff to be discussed. I think in the interest of your obligations, you can just speak and then we'll continue afterwards. You sure? Okay. Guys, you all are too quiet. So I'm going to ask somebody to have a chat with you guys. Right? Ms. Leslie is here. She joined us today and she's got a couple of words to share with you guys. If we could give her a round of applause, please.
I'm clapping for you as you're clapping for me. So I didn't have the privilege of watching your process, but for me, to some extent, I'm actually happy that it worked out that way. I saw you at the start and I'm seeing you at the end. And what really stands out for me when I hear you speak is a few things. The one is the deep understanding of who your audience is. That came out quite clear for me. You know, like what the problems are. I think where we do need to distinguish is like, what are the infrastructural problems that are your stumbling blocks? You know, differentiate between what is the role of government and corporates and what is your role? And I think here and there, you know, we can be ambitious about what are the solutions we can create as entrepreneurs to overcome infrastructural issues, but at the same extent, there is a role for institutions, I think, like Simologong to play, like partners like Telkom to play in terms of like lobbying for the kind of infrastructure that we need to support the growth of your industry. One of the things I would advise is that when you think about your solutions, you need to really think deeply about your go-to-market strategy. I think that was the part that was missing for me. So if you don't have the internal team capability, this is where I would encourage you to actively reach out to marketing organizations, marketing partners, to also start seeing your solution from that perspective, about that step-by-step point of your distribution channels in terms of reaching your audience. So look for partners that come on board with that journey. My final thing to say is that when I spend time with software developers, or at least like with corporates who are hiring software developers, they say those that come fresh out of university and various skills academies often lack the ability to work well in teams, to collaborate effectively. The EQ is often low. I had a call yesterday with, in fact this morning, with Cecile from one of the directors at Goggle, the top animation school in the world in Paris. And she said exactly the same thing. What makes them unique is the ability to collaborate, to have IQ, to have the technical capability, but really how you work. You've got that. You know how to work in teams. You know how to work across diversity and capabilities. I saw that on Wednesday when we started on this journey, when I heard you explain who's in your teams. But I'm also seeing it now in coming at the end, where you weren't just speaking about it, you're practitioners of it. And for me, that excites me, because you reflect what the future of work is. You're living it. Corporates are trying to get there. They don't know how to do it. When we speak about digital transformation, it's these skills that come into play. So I want to give you all a round of applause, because you're excellent. Yes, we have work to do, but you're already excellent. And good luck to the finalists.
Another round of applause. Thank you, Miss Leslie. Right? If you get the message loudly and clear, you guys have the skills. Right? Corporate South Africa can do a lot with you guys. You can work with Corporate South Africa, and Corporate South Africa can work with you. So I've taken a walk to the judges, and I'm back. Miss Matev, good evening, ma'am. Right. Can I kindly ask you to join me down this side? I kind of need company. It's been lonely. I've been standing alone. Mr. Ben, don't go out. Come this way. Come join me this way. So, guys, it's that time of the day, eh? The part that interests me the most. Yes, the fun part. The fun part. Okay, let's welcome Miss Ben and Mr. Ben and Miss Matebe. Right, so at this juncture, guys, I'm just gonna hand over to these two individuals to share their thoughts with you with regards to this paper that they are carrying. Ne? Okay.
Good evening, guys. I think for me, it's been such an incredible time to be here. We're definitely going to do this again. So it was just amazing to see how you all worked so hard and put your creativity to the test. And I've really thought about the problems that we are facing and made them your own and really walked a mile in our shoes. So I just want to say congratulations. That's the first step of being an entrepreneur, being able to empathize with your customer. So without further ado, are there smiles across the room, nerves? How's that going? Everything, okay. By the way, did they tell you the terms and conditions? They didn't. Oh, let's go home then. I'm joking. Okay, so I'm going to start off with number 3, and I must say all of you were really amazing. In 3rd place, South Game Lofts. Congratulations, ladies. Come through, come through, come through.
Thank you so much.
Great. Awesome. Congratulations and well done. Very inspirational. And in second place, Team Skinny Boy. Where am I standing? In the middle. Congratulations, guys.
I'm shaking.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, congratulations, well done. I hope that, yeah, you keep the fire going. Congratulations. And our winner for this hackathon is Team Attribute. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations. Hey, you're even pushing me out. Guys, and that's it for the night. That's it. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks again. All of you were incredible.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Miss Matebe. Don't you have a check for me? How? Okay, she doesn't have a check for me, but it's fine. Congratulations, guys, to the winners. Another round of applause. All right, awesome. It's been an interesting past couple of days. We've been sweating. Finally, we have gotten to the prize. All right, Miss Joy, good evening, ma'am. Ray, how are you? You're good. Doug, how are you doing?